All our best lines already.
No.
That's it. We're done. All right,
Okay.
call it a day, everyone. Pack up.
Oh my gosh, it's actually warm down here, but if I turn that fan on, it's gonna interfere with the microphone.
Maybe.
If I get too
Just wait and
hot,
see.
I will have to turn it on because I'm so hot.
Yep. I'm
let's
refusing
see.
to say anything to that one.
You could have just agreed and give me a little ego boost, you know.
Okay. Sounds good.
Whatever you say, Kylie. Whatever you say.
Yes,
Okay.
Kylie. Smile and nod.
Chat, you have. I was gonna start with 2 minutes. I'll give chat.
Oh, we are actually live. Okay.
Yeah, we're live now.
Thanks
We
for that
are.
countdown.
Okay.
Yeah. I might have forgot to say.
And we're here.
So I've had one shot of
Cheers for the
tequila. I'm about to have my second.
My god.
That's how I party on Sunday
Last
nights.
week wasn't a disaster when that happened.
Oh my gosh, I'm never doing that again. That's why the bottle is not here with me.
What happened? What on earth happened?
Okay, so I'm on keto. Wine is my specialty, but it's not keto. But tequila and whiskey are.
Oh, that sounds like a really dangerous mix.
I brought a bottle of tequila down because that's what I do is bring my wine down, and I end up going through the whole bottle. Not a big deal.
It happens.
But the tequila, it just started going down and down and down and down.
What, in one episode?
In one episode, I was like nearly halfway through the bottle in one episode, and I went, "Uh-oh. Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
Point of no return.
I don't remember the episode, but I know the next day I woke up, I did not feel good. It was...
Yeah, I mean, considering an episode a few weeks ago where we had Rezo and CD from Turn-Based Cynics on, they were shocked that she drank through a whole bottle of wine.
Brilliant.
That in my
in
sleep.
an hour.
Probably.
I love that. That's impressive, Kylie.
Well, I'm like 6 foot tall, so wine doesn't really, It's like...
It stretches far. You're fine.
Yeah, and I'm Scottish, don't forget. So... My blood is wine at this point. Like Brent says, bueno, I am watching the credits for...
Jesus?
Yes. Hard Space Shipbreaker right now. I highly recommend checking it out on Game Pass. Hard Space Shipbreaker. That's hard to say.
I've heard
Hard
it's very
Space.
good.
I have not heard of that. What type of game is it?
Yeah, let me know.
God, I can't remember. But yeah, let us know, Brent, because I can't remember. But I have heard discussions on podcasts about it where they've spoken up about it being very good.
Well, I don't know if Richard is loud or if the other's low. Pete, you are coming through. No, Richard, you're actually fine. Pete, you're coming through too low on mine.
Too low.
This is purely on the stream. I had to think of the
Okay,
word.
well, have a look at your side. I'll see if I can increase the gain.
There, Pete, that's you coming up now. That's good.
Am I good?
Yeah, that's you good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hooray for external gain controls.
Yeah, sometimes I hate it, like when I'm recording my karaoke, but when it comes to streams, it's actually quite handy.
Yeah, it really is.
But I'll tell you what game I'm obsessed with watching other people play.
Which is?
Sons of the Forest. So, have you heard of The Forest?
No.
Okay, The Forest.
Do enlighten us.
The Forest is a game that's been in alpha for like 7-8 years now on Steam.
Yep.
I was into it in the early days because back then I was all into like investing in games and all that kind of stuff, which I didn't know that games can stay in alpha for like 10 years on Steam. Learn that lesson.
Wow.
But it was out around the time that like Rust and all those sorts of survival type, games were out. So it was pretty cool. Like the graphics were great, and they've improved. But it was only one guy doing it at the time. And he didn't really know how to write. It wasn't a very good narrative story, but the survival part was cool. The AI enemies were cool. The programming itself, very cool, but it lacked a story. So then he gets the money together and he gets a narrative written. Okay, it's a weird ass narrative. It involves like aliens and all kinds of rich people, billionaires, and all this kind of like the Ark type thing, like rich people escaping on an ark type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Not what you would have thought when you saw it, because it's mostly about cutting down trees and building like survival things, So Sons of the Forest comes out, and it's even more whack. He has still not hired
to see
writers.
this. Sons of the Forest, did you say?
Yes. What is let's see.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
do you want me to read that?
Yeah, you go for it.
So it starts as a standard gig as a shipbreaker, aka spaceship salvager. Then you start to learn more about hard space universe, and it's a hyper-capitalist society.
Is it like Outer Wilds?
Outer Wilds.
Oh, get those
Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds?
The cool cartoony one. By the Bethesda people. That's Outer Worlds.
I
get them mixed up.
Yeah, Outer Wilds is the one where you have to try and complete it in 20 minutes.
Oh, right.
Is it 20 minutes? That's
yeah,
one...
so what happens is like the world resets every 20 minutes, so you have to get through as far as possible before it resets. So that you learn which path to go so that you can get through a full completion.
That's what she said.
That sounds really, really stressful. But it's one of those games that keeps on like showing on Game Pass. It might have come off already, but it's on every platform, isn't it? It's on everything.
I think so, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, do I? But that does sound...
That's like 7 Days to Die, which is where you have like 7 in-game days to build a shelter before like the zombie apocalypse ruins you. Or zombie... what is it called? Not Zombieland. It's this survival zombie game that's really cool, but it's so stressful because you have to try and survive like, in 20 minutes or whatever. And that's like...
Yeah, that's... I mean, not that a zombie apocalypse is stressful enough. They slap a time limit on it.
Exactly. That's like, I play games to relax. That's why I play building games.
Yeah, exactly. Games where I can pause.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Right, I will be back in a second. I'm just going to check our test recording.
Okay. Sounds good to me as I top all this.
What are you drinking, Kylie? What is it?
I
like the glass.
Oh, thank you. I never get to show them off. But yes, like no.
Oh, you noticed.
You know what? The other week. Okay, so I drank out of this glass. This glass is the exact. It's crystal, yeah. It's the same exact glasses that Bill and Frank had in episode 3 of The Last of Us.
Are they actually?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I was like
brilliant.
so excited. I have these, and then I also have. Now this was pure coincidence. I bought these before the show, but you know that show called Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
Yeah. The one that the meme show basically.
Yeah, the meme show
where every GIF is from that.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
They have a set of dishes that they use throughout the show, and I actually have that same set. It's from 1968. It's an antique set.
You're so bougie, it's unreal.
I love that.
No, I'm not at all.
I can imagine like Kylie has a cabinet of, I have these forks and spoons from Titanic. I have...
Take it directly from the Titanic.
Yeah, Kylie's actually... She's gone down and got them herself.
I was I went diving with Cameron just the other day. Oh, he's great, by the way. He's working on Avatar 3.
Did you hear about the 9-hour edit of Avatar?
Of course, yeah.
Like,
you have to pee at some point.
Would you do that? Would you watch that? That's like longer than a work day.
Yeah, I'd have to break that up.
That's
no way.
Madness.
No way.
Look, I've watched streams that are 11 hours and it's taken me 3 sittings.
Well, our chat is full tonight if you want
to read I'm getting to it.
Pete.
So Brent put, no, not nearly that funny. Hard Space is very dark experience until the end. Fair enough. Like, I quite like dark experiences. Then we have friend of the show, Mike Tendo, coming in saying, good evening.
Mike.
Hey.
Howdy.
He also then put, hey, I know that guy. How's it going, Richard and everyone?
Very well, thank you. How are you? How is everyone, actually? We haven't done that.
We haven't done that. Oh my gosh, we started talking about games, like it's
straight in. We went straight for it.
But also, Overlord Mike showed up. Pete?
Yes, he has. I was getting to that, but then Brent put, not to spoil too much, but you win by unionizing, building your own ship from salvage parts, and paying off your $1.25 billion debt.
Now, that is a game for me.
Yes.
Give me the debt.
We then have a Mr. Overlord turning up and saying, good evening all.
Howdy. howdy,
Yes.
Mike.
Now that reminds me of
Hello.
Alfred Hitchcock's Good Evening.
Good evening. Oh, Nicolas Cage is
yes, because I'm going to be
Dracula, by the
making movie and TV references constantly.
Yes. But did you see Nicolas Cage in as the new Dracula in that new Dracula movie? He looks silly.
What?
It's
What?
called Renfield.
No way.
Yes. It's a comedy, but it's Nicolas Cage who plays everything the same way. And he's Dracula.
Oh dear.
So,
Were you with him as well the other day?
I
was just with Nick Cage.
We were just talking about
He was just telling me about this script that he had.
Look, you know what's funny though? Richard does bring this up. I do collect movie set memorabilia.
Do you? Do you actually?
Yeah,
that is fantastic.
I have an actual coat from Peaky Blinders, one of their actual on the set thing. It's tiny. I will never fit in it, so I'm looking for the man that will fill out those narrow little
Why? Is it
shoulders.
because it's made for Cillian Murphy?
Yes, and he's so tiny. I love him. I want to squeeze him. But...
Just get him over. Just go. Can you fit back in your jacket?
Yeah, just stand there. And throw money at
I need you to just make sure that this was made for you. Right now, you're never leaving.
I also have an autograph from Jamie Lannister, Nicolaj. He gave that to me because I was having a bad day. He's like, I heard you were having a bad day. Because it was filmed here in Belfast. Before it sounds like I'm like some real actual connected. No, it was just filmed here. And,
I didn't think you were connected. Just merely a celebrity stalker.
That's it. Yeah, it's 100% that.
Constantly.
And he was like,
from a house. Yeah, gets the binoculars out.
He's like so nice. He's so nice. I love him. But yeah, he's like.
He looks so nice at the end of my binoculars at times.
Yeah, exactly. When he worked out at the other CrossFit gym. Not mine.
Very cool.
It's like, why couldn't you work out at ours?
Yeah. So Mike Tendo put not bad at all. Good to know. And he put a tale of two mics in the chat. Yeah, I look forward to seeing this. Brent put, I've got my newest autograph recently. Bill Nye, the science guy.
Oh, nice. I do like that.
Good.
He is cool. He is cool. I do like
Pretty
that.
cool. Yes.
Okay. Enough
Can't say
banter.
I have anything quite like that.
I saw Miyamoto. I met Miyamoto.
You are the luckiest,
I think you
luckiest
win.
guy.
I did. Yeah, he was really cool.
Awesome.
He was really tough. But he was very it was in HMV in London when I was a child, and my dad was like, why are we just standing here for like 5 hours waiting to see this random guy? And I was like, he's Mr. Nintendo, come on.
Because he's the greatest all the time. One off, sorry. Let's say.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Very cool.
Yes, it makes me wish that I would have got the chance to meet Iwata before he passed, of course. But
Yeah.
You should read his book. It's very good.
Pete has his book.
I have read it.
You read it on the show?
We covered a couple of segments on it that we thought were quite interesting.
I really respect that guy. I just like if I ever do get to have my dream fulfilled of owning several businesses, then I want to be like that. I just love the way he just his mind was great. It's amazing.
Yep. Mike Tedder put, you legend, and put, I've met Charles Martinet and John Romero.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
John Romero lives here. So
okay, we're good.
I can go chill with him. I have several pictures with him.
Do you?
Yeah. He's very cool. He is very cool. Very down to earth. Like, you can tell he was pretty arrogant, when he was younger, but he's learned his lessons, and he's, like, so down to earth. He's just cool. He's just a chill guy. Absolutely.
Okay. I'm glad he clarified that in the chat because I was wondering what the hell that meant. He said, "But you still need to meet Miyamoto. You have meat beat," and then he put meat beat.
Oh, that's that rapid radio.
After
Radio After Dark. Here we go.
Meet that beat.
Yeah, but he spelled it M-E-T rather than eat.
Oh, the smut is soaking through already. I like it.
Soaking?
Always.
Always.
It's seeping through.
Either or.
It's dripping.
Yeah, well, dealer's choice on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Why is it every time we get you on, Richard?
I know. I'm sorry. I bring the tone down. I
mean, last time it was the Kirby bed, and I still have never gotten over that image.
Oh, it was so good.
I just remember
the
laughing
Kirby cat
at
bed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And
I might go and
there was
listen back on that one.
It was good.
Yeah, there was an image, I'm sure, of someone sticking their head in it, and it was quite funny.
We had a good laugh about Kirby and eating things and being in Kirby's mouth.
I feel like we should trump ourselves this time.
How are we going to do that?
Yeah.
Talking about a zombie apocalypse.
I know, which is quite depressing. So
no, I'm sure we'll find the humor in it, knowing us.
Okay, last couple of comments before we start recording. Mike Tendo's put steamed hams and beet meat.
Oh, steamed hams.
Didn't you say we were doing steamed clams?
Oh my goodness.
Mike Overlord Mike put my claim to fame is that I won an Xbox 360 playing Rock Band in Wembley.
I remember you telling us about that. That is amazing.
We have heard that one, but it's awesome. I do love hearing that.
Yeah, I think that is very cool. But I also I love that era of Rock Band.
I remember coming second in a Guitar Hero contest when it first came out on PS2.
That was so much fun back then.
I love that second. That's very
because I came second to my friend who won the copy of the game, so we got to play it together. So I don't care.
Oh,
it
was a shame.
Damn it! I won a copy of Metroid. Oh, what was it?
Oh, that's
Metroid Pinball. I played Metroid. What was the one on DS? The multiplayer one.
Metroid Prime Hunters.
Played that HMV, and I came second or third. And I was so close to, and the person in first place won a trip to Nintendo in Seattle at that point. And I was so close, all expenses paid. I literally went home, sat on the train, and I think I probably cried.
Probably, yeah.
So close to it.
And then played more Metro Prime Hunters to get better.
And I cheesed it. I massively cheesed the battle because all I did was just speed around in the morph ball. Like, I did not do, and it was blown up on the massive screens in HMV on amazing speed. And all I was just doing is rolling around. But maybe if I hadn't, I would have won. But never mind.
Overlords just put that was back in 2008. Brent then put I got fourth in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament recently. Hey,
good stuff.
Mike Tendo put oh no, poor Richard.
I know. Cheat my way through though. Classic game.
Classic. Yeah, I remember playing that Metro Prime Hunters demo on DS like in college so many times.
Yeah.
Because it was barely anything to play when the DS first came out, so it was like, what do we do? All right, play that Prime Hunters demo.
That was it. Played it constantly, day and night.
Yeah. Until Advance Wars came out, and then that was it.
Pete, I was gonna bring down and show off something that I just recently bought, and it's not for After Dark.
My God.
Get it, even if it was.
Go quick.
I will. I'm gonna pause just 2 seconds. I'm not gonna pause the stream. I'm gonna pause me.
Oh my goodness.
No. But I will be right.
I was wondering what me and Richard were gonna do in that.
Yeah, just.
BRB.
Maybe we all pause.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
And she's off.
And that's it. So yeah, maybe you can get close to Kyoto HQ on your trip to Japan. So Mike Tendo put.
Yes. Well, I may have booked a hotel, which is about a 20-minute walk from the Kyoto Nintendo HQ.
Very nice. So you're
pure coincidence, obviously.
So you're going to be standing outside there, yeah. Fair enough. I would literally be stood outside the entrance until security told me to leave.
Well, I could go. It could be really bad, and I could go. Well, what time do people start work in Japan? Probably about 8 a.m. Maybe if I just stand outside while people arrive.
It's 12-hour days. So it's usually probably about 7 or 8 a.m. So
it's too long, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially. That's why Sakurai barely gets any time to play those actual consoles that he owns.
Yeah.
All of them, including that incredible cupboard he has.
I know. It's huge, isn't it? It's massive. Yeah, he's got 2 TVs as well.
Yeah, he's got far too much.
Very extra.
But it's awesome.
Okay.
Mike, no, it is not one of the love hotels, although I am tempted.
Forgot about those. Oh my God.
Apparently foreigners can't go in them, so not that I've done the research about the love hotels. Obviously.
Oh, how disappointing.
That's awesome, but also, oh my gosh, that's not fair.
Yeah, I know. Awful.
Okay, so it's probably best I do this before we start recording because it is going to be all visual. But I got two things this week that I wanted to show off. One, this lovely little thing here.
Very nice. Classic Sega Genesis controller.
Yep, it's a new one.
Well, 6-button.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep, exactly. It
mini USB.
Yep.
Micro.
Plays perfect on the PC. No lag.
It's got to have USB-C nowadays.
I know.
Micro.
I like the color as well.
Yeah, it's cool.
Nice.
But snappy buttons, like it's good. Like, so I recommend this. It is a Sega Mega Drive.
Can we hear the buttons, please? I want to.
Now, funnily enough, I called it the Genesis, and you've just called it the Mega Drive. That's the long way around.
The only reason I called it Mega Drive is because I was reading it. But Pete is correct. In the Americas, in the colonies,
in the Americas.
What do you call it?
Basically everywhere else in the world.
Yeah. God, it's like freaking out because I push buttons. But here's the big thing I wanted to show off, and y'all talking about Metroid like totally reminded me.
Oh, I'm not going to be really jealous now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh.
No way.
Let me try and show you.
Yeah, I know what those are. I've seen them before.
What? Yeah, what is it?
It's basically like an emulation, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That looks really... the screen looks good as well.
Oh, it's
good
great.
size.
What is it? Is it a 1080p screen?
Metal. That's not plastic.
Wow.
Oh, is it metal? Oh, nice.
Yeah,
is it purple
metal.
as well?
It's purple, yeah.
Of course it's purple.
Purple's my favorite color. People think it's pink. It's actually purple. But yeah, as you can see, like all the way going back to Amiga and all of it, like it's there, you know, and all the ROMs are there and everything.
I mean, you own all these games for sure, of course.
I absolutely own all of these games, so these ROMs are just
good.
my
Yeah,
backups.
you've just ripped your collection. That's very good. Very
Totally,
good.
Yeah,
that's
well
all
done.
I did. Yep.
Preservation.
Yep. But yeah,
and also
the screen
because you're not a
great.
dirty pirate.
Oh, and Pete, yes. But I might be in my spare time. What you'll
no!
About these?
Oh my god!
They have magnets in them, so it will never ever have Joy-Con drift.
Yes, I definitely.
This might be after.
Is it heavy?
I would say it's solid. I would say it probably isn't quite as heavy as I imagine the Steam one.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Probably about the same weight as like an original Game Boy or like a Game Boy Advance?
Not quite heavy as a Game Boy, original Game Boy without batteries. It would be the same weight, but
okay,
cool. A decent weight then.
Yeah.
Overlord Mike said, "What make is it?"
It is. I have to remember. They were. Oh god.
And
focus.
Yeah. Why won't it focus? Nope.
Yeah. No.
It's just not.
You're gonna have to drop the link after.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely do that. ANAERNIC, but I'll drop the link because they were originally the thing that you have to support. What is that called?
Kickstarter.
Patreon.
Yeah, Kickstarter, Patreon.
Or Indiegogo.
Anyway, it comes with a case as well.
Ooh,
Just so I can
snazzy.
show that off. Yeah.
Is that
amazing.
purple zip? Did I just see a purple zip on that
Yes,
case? Oh,
it is
no,
a purple zip that matches the purple metal.
That's so cool.
I definitely recommend SD card just because of your saves is all really. But no, it is really good. It's sent from America, so you might have to pay a little bit in shipping, but I'm gonna say it's worth it.
Good for traveling.
Exactly.
That'd be perfect for traveling.
Mike, it's ANA.
Yeah.
ANAB. And then the rest is right.
Means can you play Switch games on it?
I haven't tried, but I bet you could.
Okay.
I
was gonna say you might actually finally play your Switch then.
Oh, by the way, I've been talking to the editor of the Last of Us series.
Ooh.
So we may have to. I've been talking to him from day one, but we'll get into it on the podcast.
Okay,
Yes,
quite cool.
let's do that.
Shall we segue straight in then? Let's get this recording started.
Okay. We're
Cool.
150 what? 153?
153.
Right? Okay.
Cool. Right. Recording now. So I'll count you in. So 3, 2.
Welcome to Rapid Reviews Radio, episode 153. It's gonna be a fun one. because I'm your co-host, Kiley Wilde. I'm joined by my ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett. And
hello.
I forgot to let Pete say hello. But I know, I'm so rude. A very special guest, Richard Nintendo.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, you got it. You almost got it, Kylie. Well done. We're getting there. Every episode you get better.
Yes. But yes, we are very excited to have him here because it's been a while. It's shockingly been a while.
Yeah, it's got about a year or something, I think. So thank you for inviting me back. I couldn't say no.
Oh, we love having you here.
Yeah, I mean, the minute you started talking about The Last of Us in the chat, we literally came off the show. We're like, shall we just do a wrap up of the whole thing? Oh, who should we get? And we literally both at the same time went, Richard.
Who shills more about The Last of Us?
Yeah. What I was saying to the guys, but what I'll say to our poor audience, The Last of Us as a game has been one of the most talked about games on this show. I don't know why, it just keeps happening. But I've always said from day one, it is one of the best stories out there for a game. And I'm talking about number one, Last of Us Part 1. And I thought it would I thought it would transfer perfectly as a television show. And so it has been a great ride these last few weeks, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get started, I always like to check in with everyone and to see how they're doing. Richard, we'll start with you, our guest. How has your week been?
It has been a roller coaster. Oh, it's been okay. It's one of those ones. Monday, not great. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of got better. And then I made a good lasagna today.
Oh, yes.
Which I had to rub it in. So, yeah, good food. Good food. A little bit of gaming. And back at the gym. So, yeah, feeling good. And
very good.
1 week closer to my big holiday.
Yeah.
As well. So, yeah, very excited for that.
I'm excited to see pictures.
Not jealous.
Yeah, not jealous. Nope, not jealous at all. Oh, I cannot wait to see. Show pictures. Send pictures.
I will.
They'll be all over Twitter, and I'll be liking every single one of them with rage.
I'll be doing a giveaway as well, Pete.
Ooh, okay.
So you need to get in on that. Need to get in on that.
Is there any way to rig said competition?
I will take bribes in monetary form.
We'll talk afterwards. We'll
keep that far. No, if you win this, it's going to look so dodgy.
Oh, I know.
So yes, Japan on the 12th of April for nearly a month. Yes, very, very excited for that.
Really happy for you for that, because I know obviously you've been waiting to go for a very long time. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
It better be good. But
where are you visiting?
So we start off in Tokyo, then we go down to Kyoto, and then Osaka, then Hiroshima, then back up to Tokyo, and we're finishing off with Super Nintendo World. Amazing. So yes, and Disney as well afterwards, because I booked a hotel and I thought, oh, this looks good. Why is there Mickey Mouse on the side? Oh, I've booked Disney. So. And I'm not crazy over Disney. Like, I could either take it or leave it. Do you know what I mean? But we're there, so we might as well. So yeah, it's gonna be really, really good. Lots of walking, lots of temples, and lots of buying merch. Oh, that will definitely happen.
Definitely, you'll have to take a suitcase just for that.
Oh, I've got extra luggage on the way back. Don't you worry about that.
Surprised. I think everyone I know who's been there has done the same thing.
Oh gosh.
Absolutely. I've got a list of things people want me to go and get. I'm like, I'm on holiday. I'm not some sort of like shopper. Although.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will talk afterwards, because I might have a small request. It's a tiny request. That's it.
That's right. That's right, Pete. I can allow another one.
There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Chat is jealous. Big time.
Yes, Mike Tendo's put my jealousy level is over 9,000.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad I put the emphasis on that.
Yeah, very good. You did the meme right, Pete. But Pete, that takes us to you. What about your exciting week? How's it been?
It's been a busy week, so I've been working all the way through, including this weekend.
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah, not fun, but hey ho, that's life. Not been overly busy, so I won't tell you what I was doing at work whilst I was supposed to be working because my bosses might
I was
find
gonna
out.
say.
But anyway, I recently just re-picked up Mario Odyssey for my 4th playthrough, and oh my god, I love that game so much. I forgot how much I loved it.
That's
currently
yeah,
I'm now
game,
up to Bowser's Kingdom.
Okay.
Very good. It's one of those games, isn't it, that just goes on and on and on, but in a good way. Like, you feel like you're done, and there's so much hidden in it. It's great. Still not as good as Galaxy, though, Pete. I'm really sorry.
No, I agree with you. Galaxy is my favourite
off.
game of all time, so...
Yes, makes 2 of us.
Yes,
I thought it was
as
Super
much
Mario
as I love
Sunshine.
Odyssey,
It's not aged too well, has it?
It hasn't.
It's a shame that they took away some of Mario's movement abilities for Flood.
It's such a sloppy port, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Pete did a whole rant on it a few back in the early episodes. Yeah. That's why I was teasing him about it.
I mean, there's only one game on that collection that's aged well. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay. What?
It's Galaxy. It's the only one that aged well.
Right. Okay. Very good. Very good. Well,
Kylie, how's your week been?
Yeah. How are you?
My week's been a week. It's a week.
You're still here.
I'm still here. I drank a lot. No, I'm kidding. I don't know about the rest of the UK, but Belfast or Northern Ireland, but I'm in Belfast. It's been snowing like crazy, and people don't know how to function in snow here. So, everything was shut down. I couldn't get to the gym, which made me very sad. Very sad. But it did mean that I got to play a lot of games. So, yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
No. So, welcome to the UK. This is how we deal with snow. Get used to it. It's like Texas.
Oh my gosh.
As in, we don't deal with it at all.
There you go.
I was gonna say, in Texas, if it snowed and it covered the grass a little bit, but you can still see the green through it, we were like, oh my gosh, exciting! Everyone's off school.
Pretty much.
Blah, blah. Okay, but here the snow got up to my ankle. I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to function in this. We've passed my
back home. I go back home.
Yeah. And then I keep thinking it's springtime because in my world it is springtime, and then it's just raining all the time and there's no sun. It makes me think of that line in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where Azim goes, is there any sun in this cursed country? Because that's how I feel.
And there's me and Pete. No, we're more than used to this. And you have to complain about it every day. That's the rule. You have to.
Yes.
You've now officially become British because you're now complaining about the weather. It took a while, but you got there.
I cannot believe how many conversations I have about the weather now. That's all we talk about at the gym, and I'm just like, okay, when did
you talk at the gym? That's a start. That's a good thing. Most people no.
I mean, you talk to people? I thought you didn't do that.
I have 3 people that I talk to. I mean, to make it sound like I'm very, very popular, but
do they talk back?
Some not all the time.
Is it the mirror, Kylie?
Maybe that's it. And they just stare at me, and I kind of slowly back away.
Yeah, be careful with your mic because you cut out a couple of times there. So.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. My mic is very weird. Okay, no, it's not. It's me. We figured this out. I think it was Deadbeat that figured it out. I had my mic turned the wrong way because I have it on the kidney shape.
Oh.
So it's here.
How we got through
100 from here.
Yeah.
I was going to say how we got through 152 episodes already. I have no idea.
Mike Tindo says 3 people that you talk to about the weather. Yes.
He also put week's been a week, started with Monday, ended with a Sunday.
That's yeah. Well,
it's those kind of singers I'm looking forward to hearing at WSD soon.
Except, and I have talked about this, and I'm going to talk about it again because it still gets me in trouble here at the UK. Here at the UK, man, this is the UK. No, in America, Sunday is the first day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK, it is the last day of the week. And you think that's not a big deal, except it is. Because people say next week, and I think that they're talking about, Sunday. And then they're like, no, I meant next Sunday, the following. I'm like, what? And then the calendars are all messed up. I can't follow those.
So, Kylie, it's a Sunday, which is the end of our week today.
See, I feel like it's the beginning.
No, it also just sounds like that when America seceded from the UK, they wanted to ruin everything that we put in place. They were like, right, we're just going to do literally everything different, including the spelling of
I
colour.
was going to say, we took the U's out, we changed it all to Z's. Sunday is the first day of the week.
I mean, Z.
And see, I drive a Z4, and like anytime I have to
Z4
have to get it shined or whatever, like, oh, what kind of car do you have? And I'm like, a Z4. They're like, a Z4? Like, oh yeah, that thing.
And is it zebra or zebra?
Oh, it's
okay.
Richard, you just must have read my mind. I was about to say that.
It's zebra. It is zebra. Hands down.
I'm sure eventually it will work its way into my language, but I still say Z, and I still say tomatoes, and that cracks people up because they say tomatoes here, by the way, for our listeners. Tomatoes.
Yes. It's not a zebra. It's just a striped horse.
There you go. And tacos. I still can't get over that. Tacos. Like, you mean tacos? Like, no, tacos. So I have
you're doing a really bad impression of me.
I am.
I thought that was a good impression.
No, just been me.
But yes, we have a lot of fun here on this show. You should join in. So for our listeners and our viewers, I am going to take a little side note, and then we're going to launch into this fun show. But our views and listens have been down. If you could get a friend and y'all could just listen, and you don't have to even listen, you can listen to like a 30-minute episode or something. Just bump our numbers up just a little. And here's why. It's not because I want them up. I mean, it does feel good. I'm not going to lie. It does feel good on Monday when I look and the numbers are high. But Pete and I want to do live shows at like EGX and all those types of things. And so we need some numbers to back that up so we can go bring our brilliant voices to the masses out there. So grab a friend, just stick it on, like, watch it in the background. You can mute it. You don't have to listen to it.
There are 30-minute episodes by Nintendo, such as Redacted for Privilege, the epic reading of the Epic versus Apple lawsuit papers.
Which was very cool because I learned so much about Epic, and it explains so much of what's going on now. It's cray-cray. But there's 45-minute episodes.
Those are mostly the Christmas ones where we chat nonsense.
Yeah, and completely drunk. Well, me, because Pete doesn't drink. But going to wrap all that up because we are going to launch into what we're really here for, which I'm very excited about. And that is, we are going to talk about The Last of Us TV show.
Right. Serious faces on everyone. Yes. No more laughs. That's it.
Yeah, right. As everyone goes into, I was going to say Zen, but there's zombie apocalypse. There's Z. But, yeah, so wait. Is it World War Z for y'all or World War Z?
World War Z.
Oh my goodness. That's weird.
That's a good point, actually, because I think I'll go American when I say that.
Yeah, because I think it's American-based, isn't it? It was written by an American.
Yeah.
Look, it probably is, so I probably should be respectful to the source material and say World War Z, but, you know.
Yeah. But, so...
Speaking of respecting source material.
Yes, here we go. Exactly. Do we want to do a kind of summary of the last episode, or do we want to just go over an overall thing? Because we've been doing this weekly. We've been doing a kind of rehash of the previous episode. So how do y'all feel about that? Should we just do an overview?
Take it away, Richard.
So last episode of The Last of Us. So, full transparency, cards on the table. I've seen it 3 times.
Okay.
So I've just watched the last episode just as we were about to go live. So
I did too.
It's all like fresh, fresh in my mind. Yes. So I love the whole lot. I love it. And I think to wrap it up, they stayed insanely close to the source material.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little bit too close for my liking.
Oh, I like
so
that.
Obviously,
okay.
yeah. So I've been thinking about this because I adore the games, and showing Ellie's mum. Is this completely spoiler? Like,
Okay,
yeah,
right. Let me just preface this now.
This is 100%
spoilers ahead. If you do not want to know anything,
why are you
don't
listening
listen to this
episode?
episode.
Don't listen. Or listen to it. Just mute it so you still get the view.
Yes, do that. Do it, Richard.
Yeah.
This is why we need you as a PR rep.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah. So I think the beginning with Ellie's mum was great, and obviously being Ellie's voice actor as well. I thought that was a really good touch.
Kind of confused
really good touch.
Me at first.
That's what I was alluding to last week, by the way, Kiley.
Oh yes.
Oh, hang on. Who has played the game?
Oh, I have. And then
I haven't.
Pete has watched a little bit.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
You've watched it. Have you? What about part 2? Because I will go full on.
Seen it all.
Okay, cool. You seen it all. Kylie, you played it? Seen it?
I started to play it.
Okay. Well, let's park that. Yeah. We'll. But yeah, overall, really liked it. I don't want to go too critical just yet, but I do feel like if you've played the game, it felt like carbon copy, shot for shot, if you look at comparisons. But that is staying faithful. And, if we talk about like Resident Evil, which I didn't enjoy, but that was far, far, far away from it. This is kind of grounded. This is how it's done.
I have a question to ask about that though. Which Resident Evil are you talking about?
Series?
Latest one. No, the latest one on Netflix.
Okay, yeah,
I was just fan of that. I don't understand what they were doing with that.
I don't think they did either.
Yeah.
No, I think there's only been the animated series are the ones that the animated movies, the ones that stayed mostly faithful because they actually technically are within the canon. But the most recent one, obviously the Netflix one that you're talking about, no, that's quite bad. But then they did Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City with...
Oh, yeah.
And that stayed mostly faithful, but was terrible.
And I think it really highlights, video games are kind of surpassing, like, theatre, shows, movies, films, everything like that. So as a medium, so it's nice to see what's refreshing to see with The Last of Us is a very strong and divisive story, very, very divisive story. But I still got the same feeling from watching it than I did them playing it. Like when you play The Last of Us, it's not a good time, is it? It's you don't go, oh, I can't wait to play it, but you're so sucked into it. You're so sucked into it, and I felt exactly like this with the show. But yeah, I came away and I absolutely adored it. I think it was great, but I was still screaming, going, "No, Joel, why did you do that?"
Yeah,
we are going to get into the moral quandary. I'm dying to hear both of y'all's points of view and to give my own.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, I'll take your point there, Richard. Like, it's like watching Requiem for a Dream. You don't want to watch it again, at all, but you love what you watch because it's so depressingly dour.
Like, yeah, it is, isn't it? And it's kind of, I think it helped with how well it was done, how well it was edited. I have a weekly discussion. He's in America. He's called Timothy Good, I think his name is. He's the lead editor on the series, and I connected with him on Twitter just before it all came about. And although I was trying to say, oh, what happens the next one, or what have you changed? You obviously couldn't say.
Yeah.
But he's really, really you can tell he's proud of the whole series.
He should be,
And I said to him, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I asked him, I said, look, how are you dealing with the backlash? Because obviously it's going to upset people, especially people probably who haven't played the games.
Exactly.
And the fact that it's so divisive, it is they've done their job. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to say something that's probably naive. I was surprised by the divisiveness that came out with this episode. But like I said, we'll get into the moral quandary in a second because that's its own discussion. But I was genuinely like I was like, oh, and it did seem to be mostly people who hadn't played the game or weren't familiar with it.
So what did you guys think of it?
Pete, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I felt it started very, very strong. As the series went on, I felt that it started getting a bit long in the tooth at certain points. I didn't overly have a connection with Joel and Ellie to a certain degree up until that final episode. Well, as I say, the final episode, there was the episode where it was finally focused solely on Joel and Ellie's journey, and the cliffhanger that I had, obviously, where they get held up by the Raiders. That's where I started to connect with them finally. Ever since then, I felt it was good. The ending for me is the most unfortunate side of things because I felt the final episode felt rushed.
Yeah, it's 45 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you've had episodes that, especially that opening where it was like an hour and 15 minutes, you've had certain episodes like episode 3, and to be honest, I don't want to go into episode 3 in much detail other than the fact that it's probably one of the best episodes in the entire series. But that went very long as well, and same with the Left Behind episode,
which I also love.
And for my biggest issue with the series as a whole then is the fact that they focused 2 episodes of a 9-episode series on side stories that didn't really play into the main narrative in any way. Like if it had had a couple of extra episodes, I might be okay with it.
I would like to, that is probably my only. Well, I'm not gonna say only because I don't want to sound like a fangirl, like 100%. Oh, but I wish there were more episodes. It just seemed like there's a whole world there to explore, and I know like that's an HBO decision that they had to play it close to the vest because they didn't know how this was gonna do. There is a legacy of video game, as storytelling, as entertainment, as movies, as TV show, not doing so well as we've talked about on this show. Halo, cough, cough. I don't know what.
I'm still yet to see that. I do still want to see it, just to say that I've seen it.
Oh goodness!
I had that moment where I got curious because I took out Paramount Plus just to watch the Scream movies for a research that I was doing on another podcast. So I decided to watch watch Halo, and I couldn't make it past episode 3. It was that bad.
That's about
that bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. Visually speaking, it's quite nice to look at. The suit itself is incredible, but just everything around it is bad.
See that kind of leads to.
Mike, sorry, cutting out.
Oh, dadgummit. You know what? I'm gonna roll my chair back in case it's my knee hitting the cord. Another suggestion Deadbeat had. So, how's this? Can everybody hear me before I go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. What I said in the very, very beginning of The Last of Us when we started reviewing it and stuff is that this felt like a renaissance in a way. We were going back to, it's so well written. It's so well performed. It's just everything's 10s across the board. It's so good. But again, I think, and this is an HBO thing, it needed more. It needed more episodes. There's so I feel like we've had a little taste, and there's so much more to explore, and stuff.
Yeah, and I think I agree. So when I was thinking about, what point should I bring up on the podcast? And I was thinking, what did I not like about it? And you have to be critical of the things you like. I think that's important to do that. But same as you, Kylie, not to sound fanboyish, but actually it is too short. But I think there was a certain magic with episode 3, for instance, where they can tell a fleshed out story in such a short amount of time, and And I know it's the same time. I know it's an hour and a half. You know, it's the same time. You know, same kind of makeup as a film. But to have like every time I've seen that, I've cried.
Yes.
Every single
Every
time for
time.
various reasons.
Yes.
And it's one of the most beautiful stories
Beautiful
ever. And actually, kind of what I'm trying to say is, I probably wanted to see more of that. I wanted to see more diversion.
Yeah. More humanity.
You know, and
because that's how I felt. Yeah.
And I think yeah, maybe 12 episodes would have been good because I felt like that the hospital, I would have liked to have seen more fighting as well. I know there's the big debate around how many infected there are in the you know, we obviously saw Ellie's mum where she stabbed her in the side of the head, etc., and then the umbilical cord bit. But I think yeah, I think I did definitely miss the, you know, with the bloater, for instance, going back to that episode, which was one of my favorite episodes, with the sniper rifle, with the bloater. Yeah. Was it a bloater? Yeah, it's bloater. Yeah. And I think some more of that, but then listening to, I don't know if you guys listened to it, but I listened to the Last of Us podcast, the official podcast.
I haven't yet.
It's really, really good. And it's Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, and they have like the special guests and stuff, but they talk about, you know, the use of the infected, and they wanted it more on the love story and, you know, the characterization of the, you know, of the people in the series. But yeah, which is more infected, please.
Yes, it did kind of dwindle down, and I was a little bit confused about the last episode. Was it my understanding that infected chased Ellie's mom the whole way?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
That seemed a little. I mean, I would like to have seen maybe a little bit more reason for it to be tracking
like
her.
Some context around it.
Yeah. I will say this though. As that scene opened and you can hear her grunts and everything, my brain kept going, Ellie, Ellie, because it's her.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was there for. And we knew obviously that the original cast were going to make cameo appearances in some way, and I think I kind of think it was the perfect way to get Ashley Johnson into the show as well.
I thought that was very, very good. I the science is a little weird, but I can suspend my disbelief a little bit. But I thought, no, this was a funny small thing that may not have been intentional, but I think it was, and I thought it was a really cool nod. When Joel's going through the hospital, just picking off everyone, you know, and it feels very much like the game. He shoots one guy behind the bed, and he drops his gun, and he picks up that guy's gun, and I was like, oh, he just upgraded his gun.
Yeah. I got exactly that, but in the second episode, when was it Tess and Joel are coming in from some rain, and they both swing their backpacks round, and they both kneel on the floor. I'm like, that's what you do in the game. Like, just little things like that.
Yeah, and it feels parallel to it.
It is very cool, the sort of attention to detail that they have put into the world, and to obviously adapting what is an active storytelling method to a passive medium. And I think they've done it in probably what is, I'd say, near perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it again, you know, it's good to be critical, but holy crap, with everything that's out there currently, this is superior. It surpasses. I mean, I wanted The Witcher to do well. I keep referring back to The Witcher because it was so awful.
First lot was passable.
It was passable. The second season, holy crap, what the heck? I don't know. I just was like, what?
And then recast, obviously.
I was going to say, season 2 must have been that bad because Cavill didn't want to come back.
Well, they wouldn't let him do what
I know.
What Druckmann has done. They should have let him. But, and then did you guys see, it's on Twitter a lot. There was a lady on TikTok who was like, gamers, you've been gatekeeping games from us. I thought.
Oh yeah, I saw that,
games
and
were
that was
only Mario
such
Kart.
a crap take.
Yeah, and she's like,
I haven't seen that.
yeah, she's like, you've been
I'll
hiding.
see if I can find it whilst you talk.
Yeah. You've been hiding great storytelling and stuff behind games and never letting us know. We just thought you played Mario Kart all day, and it's like, lady, first of all, you're not that old. She's probably 40s. And it's like, you have eyes and hands.
So is this all born from The Last of Us, where she's watched? Right, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting point, actually, because I love hearing. So it's a topic of conversation when I walk into my office at work, which is non-gaming related, and a lot of them don't play games at all. But I speak to them about it, and I'm like, what do you think? What how do you feel the story is? Because obviously we know the game's probably inside out or very very well, and actually the feedback that you get is the first thing that they always say is, oh, I can't believe it's from a video game. Like, they're not allowing themselves initially to enjoy it, and then they go, oh, I love it. Oh, it's really, really good. And then I go, you should buy a PlayStation 5 and get it.
Yes.
It's a bit of a, quite a bit of a spend there. But I don't know if it's going to, the sales have gone up and stuff. But what I'm interested in, is it going to tempt people, like new players, to try out the game? Because there are 30 hours of depression in part 2 at least.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well,
yeah,
it's like I said a couple of weeks ago, like, I knew where this, obviously I know Pete wasn't as familiar, but I knew where the series was heading, and I was like,
I knew enough.
And I was like, listeners, you have to know, if you have not played this is not a happy game. There is not a happy ending. It's not, and it doesn't continue to be happy. There's little bright spots, of course. But prepare yourself.
And I think the show does that really well as well. Where you have, it's not all doom and gloom. Like, it feels more lighthearted. I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's, the same ending, middle, beginning. But what it does is it really amplifies the good part, the happy parts, the positive parts. Like my favorite part in the first game, the best part is the giraffe part.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I love that, because it is just, you get to see Ellie's innocence come back, because Ellie has gone from Firefly Camp, or whatever you want to call it, to possibly being the cure to the cordyceps virus, and she swears all the time. She's had to kill people, and you get a glimpse of her playfulness when, I think it was episode 2, where she's playing around, like, near the. Do you remember the clicker, or the infected who's under the rubble, and she's like putting and that took me back to that, and she snaps out of it because she has to kill it. And I think going back to the giraffe part is, I really enjoyed her. Like, you see her laughing, you hear her laughing. And then she says the line, "Oh, that's so fucking cool." Are we allowed to swear? Sorry.
We're not, but we'll allow it because it's
it's part of
reference.
Yeah, and she says that, and then that's almost like brings you back down, because she's sworn again, and she's back to her, like, she's 14, for crying out loud. But it's just that light-hearted bit, which, before it all obviously kicked off again.
Yeah, again, and the puns, of course, being. I love that. I love the puns.
Oh, that whole episode with the book, like, that made me laugh. Like, so many moments it gave me a good laugh, like, especially that really bad one before they're trying to get to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a genuine laugh, isn't it?
Like,
they are actually laughing.
Yeah, that was.
I love that.
Yeah, that was the thing that I got from that, is it felt like a genuine moment, like, between the two actors who actually was just having a laugh between themselves, and it just got filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they expand on that as well. They expand on Pedro's and I can't remember. Bella, thank you, Bella Ramsey. They expand on how they got so close during filming.
Yeah,
they'd never met each other before. They'd obviously both been on Game of Thrones, but then they never met each other before. But apparently, according to the showrunners, like their chemistry just got stronger and stronger and stronger, and you can really see that being translated.
Well, it's like I'll say this part, and then I want to hear both of y'all's maybe best positive emotional moment, and then we'll go like for the hardest hitting emotional moment. But I I was thinking about calling this episode Daddy Issues, the TV show.
I'm writing it down now.
Because I relate so hard to Ellie, but I did in the game as well. But to see it on screen, and then the moment, like for me, I said this, I might have said it last week. I don't know if we said it on stream or off. Might have been off actually, Pete, when you and I were talking. But when Ellie runs out after the, I forgot his name, but the pedo guy attacks her and she has to kill him. They do this a tiny bit different from the game, but not that much. And she runs out and she doesn't know where she is, and there's anything. And then Joel grabs her and he calls her baby girl. I was like, I just busted out crying.
That was the first turning point, wasn't it? The first proper turning point.
And it was like real on his face, and it was a bit different than the game because he does it. It's just a different.
He goes in, doesn't he? He goes into and stops her from smashing his face in rather than.
And he says, it's me, baby girl. That way, it was good for the game, but the way Pedro he's like, baby girl, and then grabs her and holds her.
It's real, isn't it?
It was real, and I just wailed. But what about you guys? What is your when did it just boom hit you?
Episode 3. As a gay man myself, it's really, I get nervous about seeing representation in media. I get really, really nervous because they either get it wrong or I can't relate to it, and obviously the backlash online as well, which we won't anyway. And so I knew about Bill and Frank, and in the game, obviously you go and see him hanging there, but you don't see any of the context around it. So I knew it was going to be a difficult one, and obviously all the media was saying, "Oh, get ready." But I don't think I've ever been affected as much as episode 3 ever by any other film. I think probably the last one was Neverending Story or whatever it was. And I think but it was also happy because it's a happy ending.
It is.
But they both die, but they're both fulfilled.
Oh, it's by their choice and together, and no one has to miss the other. Oh.
Yeah, and kind of the way that it was portrayed was the most real representation that I've seen. It wasn't kind of over the top. It didn't play into stereotypes. It was uncomfortable. It's not all roses. Do you know what I mean? And the strawberry part for me, I think was the most, because it was something so simple. Something growing, and that's it was the hope, it was the happiness on their face. And I think and obviously but I came away at that, I really struggled for a couple of days because I just sat there zoning out going, oh, I loved it. But that whole arc, that whole story in there was the best part for me.
I'm going to mirror your sentiments here, Richard. Episode 3 is the one that just changed it for me. I remember where I was watching it, those weird moments like, where were you when you saw this? I was in a hotel room in Ireland watching this.
Wow.
And I was lying in bed, my partner was asleep, and I shed tears about 3 times throughout that episode. Oh my God, it was touching. And I'm not going to say anything about the gay side of the thing of the romance. What I'm going to say about it is it felt like the most genuine love story that I've ever seen depicted on screen. It was unreally touching. It was so incredibly well done. To me it felt like everyday life, just with a zombie apocalypse surrounded around it. It was those little fights that you have with your partner about silly little things, or the disagreements you can have.
I love that so much.
But then you can take the joy out of the tiniest little moments, like you said, with a strawberry growing, and it's like, oh my yeah, the strawberry made me go. You know, when they first met each other and that first dinner, like I was done by then as well, and I was like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. And then the very end when they you know, when they both decided that was it, they were gonna take their own lives in the most solemn way possible, and that was it. I was a wreck. I was an utter
I've got to
wreck.
watch that. I've got to watch that episode again.
See?
I've got to watch it this week because my mother is coming round, and I'm taking her out for dinner for Mother's Day because I couldn't see her today.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, can we watch The Last of Us?" Because she's in episode 1. And she watched me play the game. She loved. She's not a gamer. She's like 60 odd.
Yeah.
And she watched me play the game, and she absolutely loved it. She loves God of War as well. And and yeah, she can't. She's like, "Oh yeah, we'll watch the next 2 episodes." And there's me thinking, "Do we have to?"
Oh gosh!
Because I know what's coming.
I know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of was gonna say exactly what Pete said. The thing that I love the most about it is that you forget, but you realize they're in post-apocalyptic times. Like that's the background. That's the backdrop. You don't forget that, but yet that's not the focus. It's their humanity and their love for each other, and it transcends that. And it's what would happen in real life if we were, love is going to continue. No matter how destroyed the world is,
Well, I said I rang my partner. We watch it together. He lives. We don't live together. He lives a few hours away. And we watch it. We press play at the same time. Like we watched it at the same time. We do 3, 2, 1 on WhatsApp, and we watch it. And we've done it through pandemic, and that's how we do it now. And we were both we both said at the end, we were like, yeah. That's absolute goals. That's how we would want to be if we were in a apocalyptic zombie. Yeah. Yes. So I almost felt like jealous of their life at points. I was like, I want that. The small things like that. And then you almost forgot about the apocalypse for a bit.
You did. Yeah. It's funny. I also found it kind of funny from myself. So one of my favorite games that I do play is Fallout 4, but heavily modded, so that I can go throughout the wasteland, rebuild things, and make them beautiful again. And then Frank, his whole thing was when they had the little argument outside with Bill, and he's like, I just want to make it beautiful. It's the details that, show how much you care. And I'm like, yes, Frank, I'm you. That's what
I think I'm more Bill in that situation.
I want to make things beautiful, even in the darkest times. It's like, yes.
Exactly. Yes. I think that's the key takeaway, isn't it? I think that is.
Oh, it was an absolutely beautiful episode. Now, was there a kind of low point, as in, this is uncomfortable, I don't like it, the opposite for you?
Yep, episode 8.
Which one was that? I don't remember.
So that's Stephen, David, the
cannibal pedophile, let's call him.
They really
that was uncomfortable, to say the least.
No pun intended, but they really fleshed him out.
Hey! And we had Troy Baker in there as well.
Yes, that's right.
Troy Baker, the voice of Joel, obviously,
he
was David's second-hand man, right-hand man.
I didn't notice him.
Yeah, he had the beard.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go back and watch that again then.
Yeah.
Great, making me re-watch the most uncomfortable episode I watched.
But can I ask what was, besides, I'm sure the obvious, but what was so uncomfortable for you?
So I knew what was coming. Like you could tell by the subtext of the entirety of when she turns up, actually, and when she's apprehended by them, that there was something a bit off about them. Like, I didn't know exactly, but then as you start to get through and you start to realise there was dialogue that they had in there that was sort of pointing that way, and it just kept building this really uncomfortable tension with me. And then I guess that's probably why you have the moment at the end. It's supposed to be like the cathartic release, isn't it? So it's like, okay, I could get with that. And then, like Kylie said, Joel coming up and hugging Ellie is like, yeah, baby girl. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this is cool. I like this. But it was just such, I've watched so many things over the years that have made me feel really, really uncomfortable in the wrong way. But this one felt really uncomfortable, narratively speaking, and done
That's
probably
good.
to perfection in that way.
I was gonna say that
like it was
they've done
clearly
their
a
job.
narrative choice for it.
Yeah, that's
I think
interesting.
I think going into the series, I thought they wouldn't include that. I thought they would shy away from that because it's something that we all know happens, unfortunately, and but they stuck with it. They stuck with it, and they ran with it, but they didn't push it.
Right.
They insinuated, and well, obviously until the end, um, and I think the way they handled it was really good. But kind of almost echoing what you did, and Kylie, your fleshing out thing was brilliant. I think what you don't see in the game is you don't see them eating. You don't see that
Right.
that side of that
Yeah.
community. And then there was a part in that episode which I always remember, and it was such a small part of it where they've gone out hunting, and it cuts to the two cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
And they're cutting up the meat, and the guy brings in the meat, and they go, "What is that?" And then she gets her hand in, and he goes, "Venison or something."
Yeah, he says
When
venison.
you know it
yeah.
isn't venison, and I think I've watched it again, and I think, and this is probably might be obvious to other people, but I think who they're cutting up was the father of the child at the beginning, isn't it?
That's what I think. That's what I put together.
It is, yeah. That's how I interpreted it. So she's having to cook her own husband, and that's the bit that really hit me, I think, with that episode specifically. Obviously, you know, the uncomfortableness later on that you've highlighted, Pete, but I knew about that. I knew what was going to happen. But that bit, to see them dealing with, I really, maybe it's just the thought of eating someone you know as well. Just no.
I think it's just one of those interesting things when it comes to a post-apocalyptic show. It's like, it's kind of the moral quandary that you have. Like, if you're gonna starve, what? And you got nothing else available to you, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I think shows have done that. Shows and TV and movies have done that before quite a few times, but they've never really done it to this quite to this extent.
Well, yeah, and it always comes up with, like, when I've watched it with other people, we always go, "What would you do?
Right.
What would you do? You're literally in the middle of nowhere."
See, I haven't played.
You know, would you? And it that's the whole, and the game does the same thing. It was obviously kicks up all the questions like, would you do that? Would you do that? And I think that's where it excels, because you're constantly fighting with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that for me, the only time that they've ever, like, apart from this, where they've ever done it right on screen is the film Alive.
Oh,
and that's obviously based on a true story.
That is
it is horrible.
Which one's?
So Alive is the real life story of the Argentinian rugby team who crash landed in the Andes, and I think a couple of the members went to go and find help, and it took them ages. They eventually found help, but eventually by the time that they had arrived, quite a few of the people had died, and most of them had been eaten.
It was all natural causes, but they still had, in order to survive.
It's based on a true story. I'm going to be watching that tonight. That sounds brilliant.
It's an incredible film, but it's savagely hard to watch.
Yeah. It does make you think. But see, what I think this series does in game, but also probably even better on television, is it shows who we were in real life, who we are now. It's not who we would be under crisis, under pressure, in a post-apocalyptic or a war zone. Like, some people were just mild-mannered, hairstylists or something, or the lawyer lady or whatever, and now she's like the leader of that whole encampment that Tommy's at, or it's just it's kind of gives me an existential crisis.
Because it's the same with the person who's leading the uprising against Fedra as well. Like, she was probably quite mild mannered. She was
very mild mannered.
After everything had happened, she's like, "No, I am now a leader, and I'm basically I'm essentially an eco-terrorist at this point."
Exactly. And to be honest, I think most of almost every episode I had an existential crisis. But I do when I play Fallout. So, because it's like...
Feel right at home.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't wait for the Fallout series either. But because it's like, all of this, all of my whirlpool bathtub we were talking about earlier, like, they just, like, bombed and gone in a second. And then who do you become?
And I think you're right in saying you see the normal lives. I say new normal.
Yeah.
Like going back to episode 7, I think just before they go to Jackson, where Joel goes into that house with the 2 people in, and they're just living their life. They've been out in the snow for ages. Is it episode 6? I can't remember.
Episode 6.
And they
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, they are brilliant, because again, it's real representation of what actually would happen.
Their life,
you know, the people just living their life, getting by however they can, and Joel's like completely like stunned by it, because she's just rocking in a chair while it's got a gun to their head. And it's
that was so good, that little moment. Speaking of that sparks joy or whatever, because there are, if such a thing were to happen, there are people who have just lived that way their whole life, and their life didn't change at all. It's less people around. I think they even say that at one point. There's just less people.
I think they do, don't they?
Yeah, and
I think that
So what for you was the most heartbreaking moment? Which could be the same as the most emotional moment, but where you just...
the fact that it finished, maybe. So, I don't know. I think the show doesn't really go mega positive. So I think rather than your standard kind of show, your series, you can pick them out, but it all stays fairly kind of low key in terms of, where it's all fairly depressing. But yeah, I would still stick probably with episode. No, I've just remembered the most heartbreaking part of the whole series, when Sarah dies at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think we forget about that, because
so well done. Oh.
It was awful in the it was awful in the game, and they captured that perfectly, unfortunately, because it's such a heartbreaking part.
It is.
And I think going back to episode 1, where they fleshed out the whole Sarah kind of character, which was fantastic. Obviously, they needed to. It's really, really good. I just wish she could have stayed in.
Oh, she was such a
somehow
fabulous actress.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a fantastic actress, and I'm so like
her final scene, I was just like, she needs every award that they have, because holy crap, like, to be that
she does dead so well.
Yeah, she died so well.
She does dead so well, you'd think she's actually dead.
And it's just, it was so good.
And it kind of, what I like about that is the fact that they stayed truthful to the source material, but also you see in episode 9, when Joel is taking Ellie out of the lift or elevator, and he's doing exactly the same thing. And I think that was so crucial, because it just harks back to that whole 20 years ago or whenever it was, and to kind of do the full loop round was really, really good. I'm just so glad they kept it.
I am too, absolutely. Pete, what about you? Was there a heartbreaking moment?
I think I'm gonna have to agree with everything Richard said there. 100% you forget obviously about Sarah, after everything that happens. There's so much that happens in this show that you go back to episode 1 and you're like, oh yeah, that happened. I think the way that they did that, by leading up to it, by showing her normal life, her normal routine, but saying tiny little things that were slightly off, obviously builds that sense of impending dread. It's something's coming. Obviously, if you've played the games, you know what's going to happen. but they did it so well to sort of.
Did you notice the
kind of
classroom?
Do I?
Yes.
Say that again.
I think I did.
So there's I watched the first episode. Please don't judge me. I watched it 7 times, and
no judgment. I've watched it twice.
So yeah.
just mainly because I was so excited to show people. Not everyone has Sky over here, and and I watched it again, and there was a part in the first, kind of going on what you said, Pete. There's a bit where Sarah is writing. She's in the classroom, and she gets like a light goes past her. The reflection of something goes past her head, or like on her face. And I was like, okay. But if you watch it again, and then the camera cuts to side profile, and it blurs out the background, and there's someone like twitching very slightly, and that's why the twitching and the light off the watch on the side is shining in her hair, in her face.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay, that's incredible.
And I noticed it on the third watch through, and I was like, oh, that's the first time you see, and then obviously...
show is brilliant.
You start seeing like the sirens and all,
even before then, when if you kind of, and I've done a bit of a deep dive on the first episode, even down to when they refuse the biscuits, so they refuse the food that would be infected. They refuse, the next door neighbour. They go, "Oh, do you want the cookies?" And they go, "No." And he says it's on Atkins, and obviously that he wouldn't be able to eat that. So if they had eaten it, there wouldn't be any.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right.
Wow. Okay.
It's in the flour. That's how they said it.
Yeah, exactly. And she go, oh, and also she wants cookies, and then she goes, oh, chocolate chip raisin. No, I don't want one. So they don't. Sarah doesn't eat the cookies.
Oh my gosh, I love this show so much.
Okay. There's so much depth to it that you don't see it on a first or even a second watching.
No,
that's probably what makes it so good. It definitely rewards you for repeated viewings and that keen eye.
Not replay value.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
9 out of 10 would recommend.
But I will say my heartfelt moment, but it's going to tie also into something else, another discussion that I want to have. Actually, what I think they did with Tess's character and the actress that played her was amazing. Like, I was like, can we keep her around? Like, I knew what was going to happen, but could we keep her around? Because she's like the leader, and she's a bit stronger than Joel in the beginning. And I just really...
Sorry, Karen.
Oh, I just really, really liked the way they, again, fleshed that out.
And Kylie, you played the game, so I don't know if you're the same, and I really want to hear your opinion on this.
Okay.
But I much preferred her character in the series than I did the game. The game.
I didn't like her in the game. I didn't like her or the leader of the Fireflies lady. I've just blanked out on
Marlene.
Marlene.
Yeah.
I didn't like either of them in the game. And Tess in the series, the TV series, I was like, what? Why couldn't she be this?
She comes back in series 3 in a flashback. So just very slightly when they're eating outside Bill and Frank's. But
even then, that was like, she was still just such a more personable person.
Yeah, you just want to hug her.
Yes, exactly. I was like, this is someone I'd chill with, whereas Tess in the game is just a little more, I'm going to say, witchy. And she's a little, I don't know, there's a deviousness to her, an undercurrent, or maybe an anger. Maybe that's what I'm
She's quite stoic, isn't she?
Yeah.
There doesn't feel much depth to her character there.
There's like a wall, and I'm sure it was intentional, but...
And are they romantic? I didn't quite...
In the series, they are. I mean, in the TV series, they are. I never really picked it up in the game, but I have seen since people say that yes, it's alluded to in the game. I don't remember that.
No, I don't.
No. It's almost like the game was trying to tell you that they probably bumped uglies a couple of times.
Right. Apparently that, and that kind of stuff sometimes goes over my head. Sometimes. But that leads to Tess's death, which I knew was coming. I thought was so honorable. Like, there was an honor to it that was not in the game, or that I didn't get a sense of in the game. And it was a sacrifice, and it was almost like a martyr, even though it was inevitable. But then there was some controversy because, and we talked about this on the show, one of the infected comes over and kisses her, and someone said that that was akin to a sexual assault. I disagreed with that because, as previously said in that episode, all of the cordyceps are connected. So they're all one unit. And so I just felt that that was just cordyceps connecting. I didn't, get this feeling or whatever. But having said that, because that is an issue with females in games. So we go back to the episode where Ellie is with the cannibals. And then the fight that she has with what's-his-face. I don't know why I forget his name, but the pedo guy.
David.
Yes, David.
Yeah, thank you.
Which is
I couldn't remember that.
My brother's name, so you think I would but maybe that's why I don't want to remember it. But the thing is, when that fight started, I actually went almost on not defensive. That's probably too strong, but a little bit like, is this gonna be she gets assaulted and then it's suddenly badass, which is whatever reason they do that trope for women. I don't know why. Repeatedly in video games and media. But I thought actually they turned around and they handled it really well. She did what she had to do to fight him off, and then she was upset about it. She didn't turn around and become some kind of like, I'm now Lara Croft because I kicked some guy in the nuts, or whatever. It was really, I just felt that was really well done.
I have to agree with you as well. There's been some criticisms from quite a few corners of the internet about obviously media and how women are depicted in media.
I'm always...
I'm not going to agree with them for the most part, but there are certain things that I will agree with, like, a 100-odd pound, small female overpowering a 300-pound bloke. That doesn't tend to happen. Like, women have to fight smart, not aggressive, and I think that was depicted incredibly well, like how she managed to outsmart him and then use brutality basically to finish it off. And like you said, it's more humanizing that the fact that she felt something at the end of it rather than just being like, yeah, girl boss.
And I have to agree, because they decided to change that, Kylie, you said at the top of the podcast, where they removed Joel from going inside of the building. She got up by herself. So in the game, Joel goes over, grabs her, but in the TV series, she beats David's face to a pulp.
Yes.
But gets out herself. She's got that strength. They're allowing her. Oh no, not what they're saying. How I read it was, they're not going, oh look, a male's coming in to save the female, or Joel's coming in to save Ellie. Ellie is getting up. She's brushing herself off. She's probably just done the worst thing in her life. Obviously, she had to kill Riley, but this is probably that tops that, and she's getting out, she's breathing, and then Joel comes in. I think that's crucial because it's showing Ellie's got this. Ellie's got herself up. She's brushed herself off, and she's out of that.
Yeah.
But they still allow that moment for her to be a human being and break down at the end of that, and that was the thing that I found the most compelling about it. Is
give me shit.
She had her moment of overpowering and adversity, and then just walks away from it, still obviously in shock, because the camera angles and the direction that they go with is clearly meant to convey the kind of shock that she's had to go through.
Because it's all.
And then that camera angle is then all taken away and stilled, and as soon as Joel comes up and takes her by the arms, it's like
it loosened up, don't you?
Yeah. It's almost like she, like, walking out of that building, she was in a complete daze, and I think that was sort of what they were trying to convey in that moment.
But see, that's what I loved specifically about that, was that it showed not only was she strong, and she did it she didn't need no man, which I do love, but she was also vulnerable. And while she didn't need Joel, obviously, to defend her and all that kind of stuff, it was okay that he was there with his arms, you know, like
Yeah.
so she was vulnerable and strong, and you never get to see that, and I just love that complexity and
you feel the relief yourself as well,
you
don't
do.
you?
You
Agreed.
do.
But in terms of kind of going on that kind where the show allows, you know, that uncomfortableness slash the breathing space, flicking back to, I know we're sorry for flicking back, but going back to episode 2 with Tess's death.
Yeah.
You obviously have the side shot of the kiss, but what I liked about that sounds really odd, but was what you see is the first ever time, I think, in the game and the TV series. What does the infected do when you don't panic? What do you do when you allow the infection to take over?
Right.
And that kind of that's probably one of like, my most you know, she allows her, she's there to look, there to wait for those grenades that she put on the floor, and the petrol and all the rest of it, or gas, sorry, and and yeah, I think that's where this shines, I think, which you don't get in the games. You don't get that whole just leaving yourself to be in that moment, and although they're uncomfortable, although, you know, seeing that shot back on episodes, you know, where Ellie's smashing the head in, you know, is uncomfortable, it just lingers that little bit too much to have that full effect.
Yeah. So, is it my understanding with that little guy, was he down there for 20 years?
Which guy?
The one that Ellie goes, you know, underground.
Oh, the one in the head and
because he's quite decayed.
It was.
And
but he wasn't fully clickered, was he? He was like runner, what they call it in the games, I think.
And a runner is only like a year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wondered that.
Yeah, I think that was a good. I think that was a good kind of like aspect of it, showing the different types of, you know, different types of infected, but also everything they do in the series as a whole is all about the character. Is all about to show they don't just chuck in things to go, you know, every single fight, if you rewatch the whole thing, every single fight has a reason. They're not just running away to get in a house. They're you know, the bloater, that, you know, the leader of that part of the Fedra group, she or the guy gets his head ripped off. You know, there's always a reason, and I think the fighting in it acts as a vehicle to progress the story, rather than to be a spectacle. So I hope they retain that for season 2.
I agree. It's how it's obviously different from the game, because you have a lot more combat encounters with clickers and the general infected as a whole. But in the show, they've obviously cut that back a little bit for the sake of the narrative. So they've obviously made those moments more impactful by doing so. So obviously you have that in the 4th episode, I believe it is, where they get ambushed and Ellie has to shoot someone to help Joel. Like like that encounter is there solely because they've gone into someone else's stronghold, basically. And
that episode is where you get to find out the trope of the humans are the real monsters.
I mean, that's the normal part of any zombie apocalypse show.
I mean, like when she went in and killed the doctor, and it was just like cold, calculated, you know, the leader lady. She was very cold. But the thing that I didn't understand about that episode, and I remarked on this show as well when we watched that, which is they were forcing all of those people underground, all the infected underground.
Yeah.
What did they think was going to happen?
It was a real bad idea eventually.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it had to be at least 5 years, because I think a bloater is 5 years, because I had looked it up.
I think because I thought the same thing as you, Kylie. I was like, why are they going all underground? But I think it ties into kind of what I like about the series is it's not all government run. I see real people like we've spoken about just now, but this is the this is the closest we get to a government body, Fedra. You know, and the beginning of the episode is brilliant because you can see them obviously getting people going against them and rioting, etc. But the takeaway that I got from chucking them all underground was image. If they are putting them all underground, look, we've saved everyone. If you can't see them,
you are right about that.
Yeah, outside, out of mind. And, you know, they can control them. Yeah, fair enough. Logistically, they're underground. But you're right. And they knew it was going to happen. They must have known. And as soon as Fedra falls, what happens? Boom, they come up.
Yeah.
But I think it was all about image. You know, you can walk down the street and, you know, you don't see them. That's kind of what I thought about that.
That makes a lot of sense because I was just like, of course they're gonna come back up.
Well, they're gonna dig themselves out.
Either that, or a car's gonna manage to go down into a hole that brings them all out.
Yeah. But I thought though that reminded me also, which I think that's in episode 3 that it's it might be the next episode after 3 where it's alluded to and then it's shown later in the game the show that they rounded up survivors and then just shot them, you know, even like the lady holding the baby. You know what, and I know that this again is probably very cliched, but I do watch and read a lot about World War II and all that stuff because I'm just fascinated by man's inhumanity. Like because I can't relate to that, and it really did feel like that when they, you know, the whole trains and stuff and just these innocent people. And the government would, I say government, anybody in charge, they probably would do something like that because, like Joel said, dead people can't turn, you know. And it's just like, it's like.
And the worst thing about that, not the worst thing about it, obviously, the worst thing is it happened in the show, but the worst thing is that you can imagine that.
Exactly.
It wasn't shocking.
No,
like it wasn't like.
It was like, okay.
Yeah, it's that principle of like a farmer who's had an outbreak on their farm having to cull all his entire livestock. It's the same principle. How do you stop that from taking over your whole lot? You cull them.
Yeah.
It's the morality, isn't
humans.
it? Yeah. Well, exactly.
Speaking of morality, let's do a little jump to the end.
I was going to say, let's make this the last topic.
The last topic of The Last of Us. So, Richard, as you probably know, there's been a lot of discussion online, but on Twitter, of course, about the morality of Joel's decision at the end. What did you think of what his decision was and how they handled it on the TV series?
So, it's quite hard to talk about it, knowing about a certain character in season 2 or in part 2. So I'm going to pretend that I don't know about part 2. I'll pretend that
I'm going to have to do the same as well.
Yeah, because you know, it kind of sways it a little bit.
It does,
So personally, I've got two sides to this. So personally,
I do as well.
I think he did the wrong thing.
All right, okay.
Because she might have had a cure. Yes, the cure might not have happened, and they allude to he says that the cordyceps is from inside the brain, which would then, you know, would kill her. But my other side is I'm not a parent. I don't have children. Right. I don't know what it's like to have children, and knowing why that decision was there and how the story played out, I feel like people are going to look at it differently if they're a parent or a parental figure or not. So I didn't feel that attachment as much as I probably would have if I had a child. But the problem that I have, the real problem that I have, is right at the end when Ellie says, okay, because she says, what you said about the fireflies, is that all true? Then it's a pause. And then he goes, yes, it's all true. And she says, okay. But the way she says okay is, okay, I know you're lying.
Yeah. That's the impression I got as well.
I can't.
Or I don't believe you.
And the fact that he lied and lied and lied, but then he's trying to protect her and be the father figure. So it is really, really difficult. It's difficult. But personally, No, get rid of Ellie. Go on. Get a brain out.
Now I've got a kind of third point of view on that, but that was very interesting. Pete, what about you? What is your thoughts?
Now, mirroring sort of to an extent what Richard said. Obviously, I'm not a parent. I wouldn't know how it feels to have your child put in peril. I'm gonna come at this as someone who has loved ones, like a partner, and if they were put in that situation, screw the world. I'm saving them. You know, they are my world, not the world. So I can completely sympathise with his point, even though it's not his daughter, it is his surrogate daughter. So it's essentially the same thing. He's built this bond with her over what you can only surmise is several months at this point, because the TV show doesn't exactly give you a proper timescale of how long has happened. But they've obviously built a really solid relationship. He cares very deeply about her, and she does with him.
He's already lost a daughter, hasn't he?
And that too, and that's like, so he made that choice in the very first episode, and obviously in the game as well, to go towards the government, who then end up killing his daughter. So why is he then going to go towards another entity who want to help the government to then, you know, essentially lose the only thing that he now loves in the world, apart from his brother as well? So he doesn't want to see her go. He doesn't want to see her die. So I sympathise with him completely. Now, what I don't sympathise with him, and like you said, Richard, is the lies. And obviously that will be where the narrative for part 2 will then come in, and season 2 for this series, but for the whole series. But yeah, like, had he been honest with her, or, and this is obvious, I think this was raised at the time when the game came out as well, had they sort of asked her what she wanted to do,
now,
that's where the decision, where I think the decision should be made. She should make the decision, not him.
That is exactly where I'm at, which is, I don't really care about Joel's personal feelings. I didn't have a dad, so I can't, it's like, okay, I don't care about his personal feelings. I don't care about Marlene's, whatever. I don't care about her feelings. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is when they said, or she told Joel, we've drugged her. She doesn't know. She's happy. She thinks she's helping the world. She's not scared. You didn't tell her. You took choice away. That is her body. You took the choice away from her. And that, I don't care in what a post-apocalyptic current, what country, what planet we're on. I'm all about my body, my choice, and that's anybody, any human on this planet. What you want to do with your body, you do that. So what they should have done, Joel and Marlene and any other human adult there should have woke her up and said, here's how this is going to go down. Now, Ellie, from, a few minutes before that, when she's with the giraffe and everything, I think Ellie would have said, okay, I'm okay with this. I feel like that, because she said...
What, you mean like she's had her last moment on Earth and it's seeing a giraffe and it's like, this is incredible.
I'm done now.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I've finished my
pilgrimage.
Yes, exactly.
I have petted a giraffe. Now I must die in peace.
Achieved sin. But no, when she's looking at Joel and she says, this can't all have been for nothing. I can't have just wasted, Tess couldn't have just died for nothing, and then her own mother, and Riley, they couldn't have just died for nothing. I honestly feel narratively, Ellie would have said okay, because I would have said okay in that position. I will, sacrifice myself and save the world. But they took that choice from her.
And I think you raise a really good point, because it highlights the naivety around Ellie. She's a 14-year-old girl, but if you hark back to one of the previous episodes with Sam and Henry, when she's in the bedroom with Sam, and she genuinely believes that her cutting herself and wiping her blood on the leg, on Sam's leg, will cure. And I think that's where what I remembered. I was like, wow, she really doesn't have a clue how this works.
Yeah.
You know, the people in white coats will make a cure. That's what she knows.
Yeah.
But you're right. She has no idea. And I think that going back to the Sam and Henry episode, that really just kind of puts a spotlight on just how much she doesn't know about it. She's a clever girl.
Yeah.
Ellie's a really, really clever girl. She's
Very.
strong as well. But actually, deep down, because of no schools, she's only been brought up in Fedra, you know, clueless. And so is Joel, really.
Yeah.
And actually, to be fair, to harken back to the very, very, very start of it, obviously, where you have that moment in the 1960s, even they don't know exactly what's going to happen and how you cure it either, because you have that weird silence when you go, "How do you stop this?" And they're like,
audience is just
and then it cuts to the opening credits. You're like, "Whoa, okay." And that's obviously the through line throughout the entire series is how do you cure something like this? You don't know.
How do you cope? What choices do you make? Everything's tipped on its head. There's, and I think the main thing is, while there are people and bodies of people and communities trying to make rules, they don't mean jack.
Right.
They don't mean nothing.
Rules only matter if the group agrees.
Yeah. And look, you have to start eating your own parents. Brilliant.
Apparently.
That's what happens.
And some of those rules, that's what that means. Yeah.
Sure.
But I do agree with both of you though. At the very end, he lied. He should not have lied. I mean, obviously we know that that's done for narrative reasons for continuing on. But no, in that position, first of all, they should have informed her so she could make her own choice. And then whatever happened, Joel shouldn't have lied. I don't know why he did, because Ellie has seen him at his quote unquote worst, so I don't know. I mean, again, I know it's for narrative reasons, but in the vacuum, why did you lie, Joel? Why? Maybe because he knew that Ellie would make that choice.
I think so.
Could be.
Well, I think he lies constantly, and that's the difficult thing. He's so consistent in his lies, and yes, if you played the game, then it catches up with you. But I think it just shows, parents always want to say it'll be fine. Right. That's what they always say. It'll be fine, even when it won't be. And that's I mean, he takes it a step too far, but kills a few people. But but then in their world they are fine, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah, after a few people dead and several shell casings everywhere, you learn your lesson,
But he upgraded his gun though, so it's fine.
But I also thought it was good though, and then we'll do a kind of a general wrap up. But I also thought it was good that they finally showed Joel's bloodthirstness, because Joel in the game is a bad dude. He used to corner innocent people and steal from them and stuff like that.
And run
he
them.
Does that. Yeah. He's
he's
a bad
runner,
dude.
Isn't he?
Gun runner. Just all kinds of supplies running, and like I said, he would rob.
Dodgy dude.
Yeah, in the very first episode where they are in the truck and they drive by the family and they're like, "Joel, he's got a kid," and he's like, "Keep going, keep going." That's Joel from the game. That is how he is. And then at the end, when Joel's just picking them off one by one, and then the guy that's puts his hands up, and he puts his gun down, and Joel still kills him. That's Joel. That's the Joel that is in the game. And to see that on screen, I was actually glad, because they made him very, very
passive.
Yeah, passive is the exact word. Yeah, and I was confused and how's this gonna?
So that's the thing about it, is obviously that this is a different interpretation of the original source material, and you have this with books and all that sort of thing previously gone by. So you will have a different way of it being told. I think the way that they did Joel in this may not be the best way of doing it, but it's that passiveness all the way through, that when you get to episode 9 and you see that bloodthirsty approach,
so calculated though.
It is calculated. It's the real night and day variation, isn't it? It's crazy, and the way they shot that as well felt like a proper action movie, like a John Wick movie, and I could dig that as well.
And I think kind of the overarching thing, which is the same as the game, is what would you do for love?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
And I think every single episode is what would you do for the people you love? And it comes back to that rules. There are no rules. You do what you need to do, even if it means potentially throwing away a cure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good series.
So poignant to finish.
I'm gonna go watch it again.
I know, exactly. But I will give each of you a few last words. I was gonna say a few minutes. You may not want to take a few minutes, but Richard, what would you like to say just over the whole episode, over everything, and what would you like to see it go in the future?
So my favorite thing about it is it's getting people talking. You know, you're doing full episodes on it, and that's brilliant. It's getting everyone talking, and it's just great to see one of my most favorite franchises that I've shared with family and friends to be on the main big screen. What I want to see is more breathing space for season 2 plus. I want to see the same outcome, unfortunately. You know, I think that still needs to happen, but that should probably be further down the line.
I'm
That shouldn't
agree with you
personally
there.
be at, and you know, no golfing trips, please.
Yes.
And I think, but actually, I don't really want them to change much else. I still think that the main underlying message of love being the powerful thing should be great, and to see other stories. But I just think maybe the order switched around a bit, but otherwise, brilliant. Go for it. Can't wait to be depressed for another 2 years.
Brilliant.
How about you?
Well, I think hands down, I keep saying this, I sound like a broken record, but I don't care, it's what I feel. Which is, this has really just been such, even though it's depressing, and it is, but it's still a breath of fresh air in what has just been just mid shows, writing, just, I've not been excited about much. Like, even as far as movies, like, I think the last good movie I watched was Everything All at Once, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then that was months ago, and there's not been anything since that I've enjoyed, and same thing for television. So I hope that this brings, like, actual character-driven, narrative-driven TV shows.
It's set a new bar, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and I hope everything comes to rise up to that. Anything that comes out and stuff. And yeah, I'm hesitating on season 2 or series 2 rather, because I know it's coming. I don't know if I can handle it. So we'll just see. But I have
strap yourself in.
Exactly. But I weirdly have this kind of underlying faith in the writers. Does that make sense? Like, even though I'm like, I don't want to watch it, but I kind of think they've done so amazing with this season.
Yeah.
But Pete, what about you? What are your feelings?
The thing that's the most telling for me is this has made me excited again about actually watching episodes week to week rather than binge watching everything again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it gives you time to digest, it gives you time to think, and it gives you time to breathe and think, like, to take in what you've just seen. And I think that was the power behind it. I'm going to mirror all your sentiments. I am not looking forward to season 2. Where they go narratively, of course.
No, we're not ready.
I think the thing is, and this is what the biggest disappointment for me was, like, throughout The Last of Us Part 2 as a game, was that I feel like stories like that have been told in better ways before. Like, but I am really quite interested to see how they've done this series, with the whole underlying theme being love, and the whole underlying theme of the next one being
Revenge,
sorrow and revenge.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting way that they go about it. I'm just not looking forward to playing out of the bunker.
Yeah, no golf, no golf.
Golf references.
Oh no.
Gotta squeeze it in. Well done, Pete.
Pete, do you want to catch up on chat, and then we will?
Of course, yeah. So, sorry, Mike Tendo, we were talking spoilers throughout the most.
Sorry.
Apologies for that. So, most of the comments we've had are from Brent. He said, I like them all bit best. Sheer joy and wonder, followed by heartbreak.
Good old
Totally
Mortal
agree.
Kombat.
Yeah, I just wish it wasn't Mortal Kombat.
I know. He's like, where's Street Fighter? The Apocalypse.
No, I would have preferred it to be Virtua Fighter, actually.
Oh, Virtua Fighter, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to default to my normal.
Uh-huh.
He also said, I think the most uncomfortable moment was when Ellie shot her first person. Yeah, that was quite intense, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, when they get it's where was that
when Joel's cornered and
yes,
she has to come out of the crack
because he's getting overwhelmed, isn't he? Yeah, that was a good addition. I like.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, so I think this harkens back to the question of what will we do in this situation in the apocalypse, where he says, "At least I will be the same. I won't have more than a month's worth of medication, and I can't survive without food for that long. So I won't have to make any of those choices." And he then follows that up by going, "Yep, humans are the Walking Dead, not the zombies."
Yes.
Yep.
Humanity is the bad guy here.
Yeah, exactly.
He's followed up that by talking about how eggs are now too expensive because avian flues cause lots of the flocks to be cold, and he finishes out by saying, "Maybe I am lucky that I know nothing about the games. I'm excited about season 2. Well, I apologise if we've made some very obscure references you don't understand, but you will understand them soon enough."
Oh.
But that's it.
Okay. Well,
Sorry, can I just take a moment, because obviously, we had some there was some very unfortunate news that came out a couple of days ago about a certain person within the community who unfortunately lost their life. So R.I.P. Lance Reddick, what a legend. Feels bad that I watched him in Fringe recently, and I actually wanted to raise this as well. It was because of watching Anna Torv in this that made me go back and watch Fringe. And what a show that is! Go and watch it; it's incredible.
I've never seen it. I've heard very, very good things.
5 series of pure brilliance, and it has a really good ending as well, which is more surprising.
Wow, that's a rarity nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Even BoJack Horseman, one of my favourite series, had one of the worst endings I've ever seen.
Butchered it.
Yeah. But so,
R.I.P. Lance Reddick.
I was genuinely surprised to see how influential Lance Reddick was, like, in my whole everything. I didn't realize how much he was, like I knew he was in a lot of the stuff that I read and played and watched and played and stuff like that. And heard. And I was just like that's like everything, you know? And then I was telling these guys before we went live that I'm actually currently reviewing Destiny 2's
Lightfall.
Yeah, new DLC, Lightfall. And it's like you know, like I have to incorporate this into this because he's such a big part of the Destiny community. Like, he was even playing, because he gets on and plays. He was playing like 2 nights before.
Yeah, I read that as well.
But he's immortal.
Anyway, sorry.
He's immortal at this point, and he will live on, you know, forever, you know, in various things that we all love and adore.
I'm going to jump back into Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, yes.
Because he's in that asylum, isn't he? I think so. I'm going to.
Fair.
Iconic.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for this episode. We're going to wrap it up here. We thank Richard so much for joining us. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely.
You are welcome anytime. It's always a great conversation.
When are you next going to do your Nintendo one? Because I want in.
We will see.
Yeah, I think we're waiting for, I don't know, who knows what. Nintendo.
I'll do a post Japan one, and then I can give you presents, Pete. There we go. We'll do it.
Sounds good.
That'll be fun. You have to tell us everything.
I'll get you both little presents. You can open them on camera.
My present is just having you on the show, Richard.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
that was cringe-worthy.
You get an extra gift.
There you go. See, but Richard, where can they find you out there in the wild?
I am on Twitter. I still talk about games. I don't write about them anymore, but I am at Nintenmouse, NINTENMAU5. So yes, feel free to follow. I'll give you a little follow back.
Woo!
Yeah, the link will be in the show notes for this episode.
Thank you.
Pete, what about you? Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Twitter for now because I'm very contemplating getting rid. But at the
Every
moment,
day.
it's at Pete Beckett 1.
Down, up and down.
Kylie?
Okay, well, like Pete, who knows from one day to the next. So I am on Twitter at Kiley to Greet, KLEYTHTEHTREET. And I'm over on Instagram.
Wow, you got it right this time. You didn't have to rely on me to do it this week.
I had to really think about that. I'm on Instagram.
Oh wait, that was because you were 5 tequilas down last time.
Oh yes, yeah. Only 2 this time. But I'm on Instagram as well, but I talk a lot about CrossFit on there. So it could be boring to some people. But anyway, that's just it. Kylie Yellick, which is like everything ever. And I think that's going to do it for us. So thank you so much for our listeners and our watchers. And we will see you and talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
That ends the podcast portion of our show. And we
wow,
will...
Kylie, you actually waited for a pause so that I could.
Did.
Wow. It's not taking long.
We'll do a couple more minutes here on the live stream, and then we'll wrap that up because it's pretty late.
Perfect.
Wow.
How do you do it every Sunday? Wow.
I know.
That's good.
Do you want to know my secret?
I can yawn now.
Oh, yes,
Alright.
Great. Try not to yawn myself, but I'm not.
Oh, sorry. That was really rude.
No, it's contagious. That's the problem. So,
I have empathy.
Do you want to know my secret to this? For why I do this? I enjoy it.
It's so fun, isn't it?
It is fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy the podcast game. Like, it's just fun. And also, I get to talk to a friend every week without fail.
Oh, no, you're the one being sickly.
Now Pete needs a present.
There you go. See, I'm fair.
No, it is, and it is. You can tell you two just get on really well. And like when I come on here, it's just like talking to two mates. It's really good.
That's like our biggest compliment from listeners is that they turn the podcast on and they're like, I'm just sitting at a table with my buds and we're just chilling.
And that's how it should be, shouldn't it?
Yes, that's what I love.
To be fair though, Richard, it sort of felt the same way when I met all you lot at EGX a couple of years ago. It just felt like, because I'd been speaking to you all online, it just felt natural. It just felt like I was talking to friends, and it was great.
This is what happens with the gaming community, honestly. It's how it should be, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't gatekeep things.
No, too right. No, but thank you guys for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
No, you're more than welcome. I really hope you have an amazing time in Japan.
Brent, yes, we are your buds.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think I just definitely need it done now.
Oh yes, yes.
Of course, yeah.
I just want to go away, but
I'm not doing something as exciting as Japan, even though I'd love to go to Japan. But in May, I'm going to Pompeii because I've always wanted to see it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so you finally booked that now, then?
I did.
That's awesome.
It's like I'm going by myself, but I don't care. Are you
backpacking?
Yeah. And ever since
you're doing it the proper way.
Ever since I was little bitty, I've always wanted to go to Pompeii and Mount Vesuvius.
How long are you going for, Kylie?
Only 3 days. But,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you're going to rinse no sleeping.
Exactly. I won't be sleeping. I did tell myself that. I was like, you do realize you're not going to be sleeping.
Yeah. No rest for you.
Nope.
Yeah. Look, don't be afraid about traveling on your own. I did it when I went to Vegas. It was the most liberating thing I ever did.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean, like, I used to go to Scotland by myself camping every year, and then the pandemic happened. And then my little camping spot, it's there, but it's not, it's just different, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, this year I'll try to go, I'll only do 3 days so that I get up my foot in put my toe in the water. And then if that's a success, then I'll know I can do more and go different places.
That's a brilliant idea. Good on you, honestly. I think that's it's a brave thing to do as well.
Yeah,
it's brave.
Yeah,
I agree, especially after like the last couple of years that we've had as well.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly. But Brent says his cruise is 3 weeks from today. Brent has become quite the cruise chat.
Happy 3 weeks to cruise day.
But I think we're gonna wrap it up because I'm getting a bit sleepy and I do have gym and then work
me
in the
too.
morning. So
It's been a busy day because I've actually had work.
yeah, you had work.
Oh, on a Sunday.
So,
no.
I know, it was brutal, but
Do you
hey,
get extra
look,
money?
I'll deal with it.
Do you get extra money for working on a Sunday?
Unfortunately not, but I do get the Thursday and Friday off.
Time in lieu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta love a bit of time in lieu.
Yeah, that's a UK thing for sure.
Yeah, and that's time off, not time on the John.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought of it that way because again, I don't call it a loo, but that is great. I am going to.
Oh, I know. That's why I put it in the way that I did, just in case Brent didn't understand what I meant.
Okay.
I love that.
We're gonna wrap it up. Anyway, thanks so much to all. Our chat was like slamming earlier. We had
it was good,
yeah. People. It was so
Appreciate
good to see that. Please tell your friends to come watch us, please. I need more than 2 views a week so I can try and get us into places. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around, and y'all have been wonderful. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.